uplifting talk about the greatness of now and the greatness of our future. And for the new folks, we've got 6 relatively new folks, I do want to tell you that I have the George Burns theory of sermons. Several of you know it. George Burns, you have to have a good beginning, you have to have a good ending, they have to be as close together as possible. So that's my goal today. Happy New Year to everybody. How many of you did make New Year's resolutions? 1, 2, okay. 3. Your resolution, Laura's resolution, was not to make resolutions. All right, research says 41% make them, 41% of the Americans. My audience participation question is, what percent feel like they're successful? Audience participation? 2? 5, 7? A work in progress, yeah. There's no failures. The answer is 9. Okay, 9. So that brings me to a family story, because I always have to have family photos in these talks. This is the Dee Daley family. So we have my cute nephew in the middle here. His name is Sam. He's now 20. When he was 7, his sister's there as well, can't ignore her, Genevieve. When my nephew was 7, we said, Sam, what's your New Year's resolution? Sam was a slender kid, he's still a slender guy. He said, I'm going to lose 10 pounds, and I'm no longer going to be Irish. So, we said, and that's my boy Sam now, he's fabulous. I love him, he's 20, he's in college, he's great. His name is Sam Daley. Just love him. That's his father, my older brother, Dick Daley. Today, Sam is still Irish. And as you can see, he has put on a few pounds. It was not a realistic resolution. It had pressure to it. And it was totally not going to happen. So I stopped making New Year's resolutions a long time ago. However, at the new year, like all of us, it's time to reflect and to look back. And we do that here at Unity with our burning bowl ceremony. And if you don't know what that is, I'll give you a brief explanation. But it really is focused on a brand new year. Elizabeth Gilbert is a famous author. She wrote Eat, Pray, Love, and also The Big Magic. I listened to her podcast. And one of the things I love about her is she's like, just think about a new year. It's like a brand new car. There's no dents. There's no mileage on it. There's no history on it. It's the ultimate refresh button. Brand new year. And that's how we look at the burning bowl ceremony. This year we had Marie gave us a cello concert. Marie's a fabulous musician, professional, as well as fabulous everything else. And we had Garnet and Mimi Nash lead us in the burning bowl ceremony. So what you do is you write down what you want to release, and you write down what you want to intend for the year. I wrote what I wanted to intend was ease and contentment. And then when I was asked to speak what was my topic for the week, I said ease and contentment. So then I wrote my talk around that. So that's how I got to ease and contentment. Contentment does not equate with status quo. Oh, no, no, no. You would not, when you come through those doors, you know we're not about status quo. We're about expanding. We're about growing. We're about being more of ourselves. So don't think that contentment is about status quo. Contentment is not about just settling. And contentment is available to us at any age. A baby is content until he or she's not, with the diaper and all that. But they come into the world relatively content. And we are content when we find ourselves letting go of the past and letting go of those past hurts and continuing to work on our own growth. To me, contentment is about taking on the next project, because being content allows us to take on the next project. And that's why I'm saying it's not status quo. It's going on to the next project. So what is our next project? What is your next project? That's the question. Contentment is we're living in ease in the present, but we're always open to what the universe, God, Spirit is going to bring us. Because there's one universal spirit, and we are part of it. And I believe that, and I know that, and I apply that as much as I possibly can in my life, because it's expanding. And this is another great photo. This is called A Feathered Angel, photo by Shannon. I love that photo. To me, it is about the growth and expanding. So expect this year to make new friends. New friends. Just met these lovely guys last week, and encouraged them, rope them into coming. You can always make new friends. You have to be open to it. You have to be content. We are content. We're open. We're authentic. We're ready. Let's bring on new friends. Let's have new experiences. Let's bring them on. They don't have to be expensive. Rebecca has told me we're going to go on the Canadian Rocky Mountain Rail train. That's expensive, but it'll be a great new experience. So it's about new things. It's taking them in and being open. It's about better vacations, more fulfillment, and expect greater contentment. A major factor in my life, I've already talked about Rebecca. Rebecca and I have been together 41 years. Hard to believe, since I'm only 48. And having the sustenance of a relationship has been so important to my contentment. And having this teaching, which I've been in for 40 years, has been a terrific way for me to feel content. I love Raymond Charles Barker. I've done talks on him, and I'm sure I'll do more. He is not with us anymore. He passed away, but he's a religious science minister, He's written several books. My favorite book of his is The Science of Successful Living. And I'll just pick it up and read anything, at any page, and I just feel good. You know, I have 3 of these, so they're all over my house. And I'm going to show you a slide that I think really sets the tone for what I want to bring to us this morning, which is from Raymond Charles Barker. Let me give you a minute to just take that in.
Can you read it?
And I can read it. The mind is a magnet, and we attract that which we identify with the self. The mind brings it to us. In order to get the most out of life, we must learn to consciously change many of our habitual thought patterns. So again, this kind of ties in with New Year's, but you don't have to make a resolution. You just have to think about this as, what are some of these habitual thought patterns that might not be working for me that I might want to get rid of? And then he says, it's not easy to get rid of your old thought patterns because they cling to us. I mean, they're just clinging. And, you know, I have thrown a lot of them off, but I still have a bunch still clinging. And I think we all do. So they do cling to us. But the good news is, this is the uplifting part, is that we can release them. We can release the patterns and the things that are not working for us to bring us to this place of contentment. So this morning, I'm going to ask you to think about some of the things that are sticking to you. There's my stick man with all the things sticking to him. See? What are some of those patterns that are sticking to you that you want to release to get to that place of contentment? And I'm going to share a couple of mine. We don't have time. We'd be here all day for me to give you the whole list. But I'll give you a couple that I'm working on, all right? Number 1, taking things personally. Number 2, aging is bad. Now that's a biggie. As people get old, you hear a lot of this aging is bad. And you know, I'm on a campaign to say aging is great. And the third one is holding on to past mistakes. So do not take things personally. Aging is terrific. Let go of the past. That is going to be my message today. Now, taking things personally. How many of you read Don Miguel's The 4 Agreements? You know, that book came out in 1997, and it's really a New Thought book, and everybody in America bought it. I think it was on the bestseller list for 10 years. So they were all walking around, you know, people were saying, did you read this book? And I'm like, yeah, but it's kind of what we teach in our New Thought teaching. It's not new to me. It's kind of like when The Secret came out. People are like, did you read The Secret? I'm like, yeah, you know, 35 years ago. So the point is, he was bringing New Thought teaching. He had 4 agreements. Who knows the 4? One of them is don't take things personally.
Honor your word.
Honor your word.
Always do your best.
Always do your best.
Have your word be impeccable.
Got it. Thank you, Ann, Linda. And don't make assumptions. That's number 4. So we're going to talk about this. Don't make assumptions. Be impeccable with your word, honor your word, never make assumptions, always do your best, and don't take things personally. So if you want to find out more about it, it is a great book for that topic. Don't take anything personally. It's because, and I mean that's hard for me. I mean, for whatever reason, you know, I've been a people pleaser. You look back at your past and why are you that way? Maybe it's just in the genes. I don't know. I don't spend a lot of time trying to figure out why I'm that way. I just try to spend my time thinking about moving through that and what are some of the things I can do. And I have a story. I have a story for you that'll help me and hopefully help you about when people are unkind to us. It's usually not that well, sometimes they're mad at me, but a lot of times it's just they're upset with themselves. So it is a lot of times them, and we have to remember that when people yell at us at the grocery store and other places. So here's my story about Buddha. It is said that one day the Buddha was walking through a village. A very angry and rude young man came up and began insulting him and said, "Buddha, you have no right to be teaching us. You're just a fake. You're stupid. You're nothing. And who allows you to speak to us?" The Buddha was not upset because it was the Buddha. And instead he asked the young man, "Tell me, young man, if you buy a gift for someone and that person does not take it, to whom does the gift belong?" The young man was surprised to be asked such a strange question, and the young man answered, "It would belong to me because I bought the gift." The Buddha smiled and said, "That is correct. And it is exactly the same way with your anger. If you become angry with me and I do not get insulted, then the anger falls back to you. You are then the only one who becomes unhappy, not me. And you have done the hurt to yourself. So don't take it." And we hear that so often in our teaching. It's release it. And release it with kindness. Release it with blessing. Very common statement from Louise Hay is bless and release. If I had a nickel for every time I've said bless and release, there's a lot of goodness in that saying, bless and release. All right, let's move on to my next topic, aging. Well, everybody knows how I feel about that. Be comfortable with aging. That's Louise Hay. She's my heroine on this topic. Louise Hay always says this is going to be my best year. It's going to be my best decade. And I have drilled that into my head, and I'm believing it. Now, you hear so many things about aging where people don't accept it. And there's good things there's so many good things about aging. And there's so many things that kind of, like, oh, wait a minute, I can feel I'm aging. This isn't so good. I heard a comedian the other day had a great line. This is his line, not mine. He says, "It's scary when you start making the same noises as your coffee maker." And I can kind of relate to that, so it's scary when you're making the same noises as your coffee maker. So in the past 2 months, I've had an experience with some of this aging business. Rebecca has had her second knee replacement, total knee replacement. I say, thank God we only have 2 knees. It's been a trial. Yes. I developed a sore neck. I am in physical therapy for my neck. We go together now. She goes for the knee, I go for the neck. And here's the punchline. That's our dog, Archie. He's in the cone. Oh, he's in the cone. He hurt his foot. I had to have surgery on his foot. So our family, as the kids would say, we're a hot mess. Yet we've lived through it with grace and mostly contentment. So I'm going to go with Louise Hay and say, this is our best year yet. You know, accept it. So what do I do to embrace this getting older? Well, I want to give a tip to everybody from my friend Jean, and I think this one really works. Jean says, and Jean is in her 70s, and she's having a great life. This is her best decade. And Jean says, I have replaced the word old with the word smart. And it works. So I say things like, I'm too smart to go snow skiing. I'm too smart to stay out late and get drunk. I'm too smart to hold a grudge. So I highly recommend that idea. And obviously it's all about, you gotta think, you've gotta be, everybody who gets older says, I don't you know, most of us say we don't think we're that old. Like, I look at people my age and I'm like, my goodness, they're old. So we have to think young. Don't be like the senior citizen who invited people over to his house after service. He said, come over, I'll have an organ recital. And he recited all the organs that he had operated on. You can't do that. You've got to move forward in a positive manner. So that's what I want you to do. You know, project yourself as young. Don't focus on that. Be like Louise Hay. Say these are our best years yet. The third pattern I want to talk about is holding on to the past and letting go. So I've already talked about taking things personally. Aging is bad. I'm getting rid of that. Holding on to the past. Finish each day and be done with it. Finish each day and be done with it. Photograph by Shannon. The title of the photo is The Goodnight Tree. Thank you, Shannon. Great photo. Finish each day and be done with it is a quote by another one of my favorites, Emerson. And I'm going to read you the whole quote. Emerson says, finish each day and be done with it. You have done what you could. Some blunders and absurdities, no doubt, crept in. Forget them as soon as you can. Tomorrow is a new day. You shall begin it serenely and with high spirits, and not to be encumbered with your old nonsense. That's a good one to put on the mirror in your bathroom. Move through it. Move through it. That includes all the things of forgiving yourself, forgiving others, and it's a working process. Goodness, Ann and I were talking before the service, and she helps people in her medical profession. And she was saying, you know, the tools are there. When you're in chaos, it's really hard to use the tools. Hopefully you have a caregiver or a helper that can come along and help you in that chaos. And then when you're out of chaos, you can help somebody else. Because it's not easy to remember these patterns that stick to us. And it's not easy to remember how to turn them around. I do have a humorous story, though, on forgiving. So let's read this one here. A humorous story on forgiving. A new monk arrives in the monastery. He's assigned to help the other monks in copying the old text by hand. He notices, the young monk notices, he says, you know, we're copying copies. And he points that out, and he says, I think there's an error over here because, you know, we're copying copies. So the head monk says, well, we've been copying from these copies for centuries, but you make a good point, my son. So the older monk goes down into the cellar and one of the copies and takes the copy and he checks it out. And hours later, he's still down in the lower level. And you're like, what's going on? Somebody's better go check on the older monk. So somebody went down and checked on him, and he's sobbing. The monk that went to check on him said, what's going on? What's wrong? And the monk said, there's going to have to be a lot of forgiving. The word is celebrate. That's my best. That's a good one. That's a good one. The word is celebrate. It took you a minute, didn't it? So, it's a good thing in Buddhism. There's no word for guilt. There's no word for guilt in Tibet, Buddhism. The closest translation they have is intelligent regret. Intelligent regret. I like that. No word for guilt. So as I start to wrap up here, our old thought patterns cling to us with great tenacity. That's the theme from Raymond Charles Barker. They stick to us with great tenacity. But what we've learned is we can take responsibility. That's what this teaching is about. We can take responsibility for ourselves to turn it around, to live a better life. Because our world is always about expansion. Our world is always about we have enough and we're ready to move on. In closing, please remember everything has a gestation period, a time for it to form. So if we plant a carrot seed, it takes 7 weeks to show. Bamboo, which will, grows like crazy, it takes 7 years to break through the surface of the ground. Bamboo takes 7 years. So you have to kind of figure out, what is it you're releasing, how long it's going to take. It probably never be completely done, but it's a journey. And if you're feeling impatient, remember my nephew, Sam, come back to realistic goals. Be easy on ourselves. Be patient. So today I plan to relax in a place of perfect contentment and just try my best to take it one step at a time and enjoy the journey. I invite you to do the same. Thank you. Marie's going to do a reading. Thank you.